Hello, and welcome to Kaylee's Nightmares, a podcast that delves into the bizarre, chilling, and terrifying stories of myself and our listeners. I am your host, Kaylee. The author today is Reddit user Justhuman963. So turn off the lights, lock your doors, and hide under your covers. First is Wheel of Misfortune.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Misfortune,
an announcer yelled. I covered my ears with my hands and tried to stand up. I was a bit disoriented and didn't know how I ended up here. There was a large stage with cameras everywhere, but I didn't see anyone operating the cameras. They seemed to be moving alone, probably remote controlled. The lights shining down were hurting my eyes. I saw an audience of what I can only describe as maybe ghosts. They looked human, but were transparent and gray, like some sort of spirit emerging from purgatory. The announcer was a pale-skinned man. He had slick, black-brown hair, like a businessman, and a large smile showing bright, white teeth. His lips never closed whenever he talked, and the smile just sat in place as if stuck that way.
Today we have this poor soul. We'll have him spin the wheel and see what will happen,
the announcer said, motioning me towards a large wheel. It was a pretty standard prize wheel, you would see. The prizes, though, were replaced with various things. Death, spiders, fire, water, paralysis, absolute silence, etc. I assume those may be fears or outcomes. I stared at the wheel for a good minute as the announcer watched me. His eyes never blinked, and that smile kept on shining. I grabbed onto a part of the wheel and let out a breath before spinning it. It went on for what seemed like an eternity before finally landing on the selection, Creatures in the Dark. I swear that wasn't on there before.
Look at that! We have an entertaining episode on our hands, folks,
the announcer said, twisting his head 180 degrees towards me after looking at the crowd.
You will be put in a pitch black room. All you have to do is stay in there for a minute, face your fear, and you can go on your way with the prize. Fail, and you lose.
His mouth turned into a frown for a split second before returning to a smile. His head snapped back towards the crowd as he walked across the area, opening up a door that appeared out of nowhere. I was ushered in, and the door was closed behind me. As soon as the door closed, nothing happened for a little bit, but then noises started popping up everywhere. They were coming close and going far, coming from every direction. A red analog timer was counting down from 60 seconds. 45 seconds were left, and I felt things brush past me. 30 seconds left, and I was being hit by unknown forces. Seconds counted down, and my senses were overloaded. The buzzer went off, and the door opened up. I walked out onto the stage, being blinded by the lights. Finally, I can go home, I said, before collapsing. The last thing I saw was a large cut on my chest.
Well, he bled out. See you all later.
Our next story is Being a Reaper. I can still remember it like it was yesterday. I was hit by a truck grinding my body across the ground like a crayon. I could feel the vibration of the impact through my body. The pain that existed for a few seconds, and saw my body painted on the road as I was nothing but a head. I woke up to be met with the sight of a man wearing a large black cloak with a hood covering his face. He was wielding a scythe that was freshly sharpened. I couldn't see his full face, but based on the direction he was facing and the lack of movement, I assumed he was spacing out. I must have been out for a while.
Took you long enough. Your judgment is at hand.
He told me back then with no explanation. He had explained that the afterlife was a bit of a complicated matter. There are so many beliefs humanity has, so much to keep track of. The afterlife changes to fit the vision of what that person believes. I was warped into a literal cubicle where I appeared in a seat. The man introduced himself as Darren. He died of a heart condition about 15 years ago. Just like me, he lived a pretty neutral life. Did a few bad things in life, but also plenty of good. Morally in the middle, but leaning in the way of positivity. Since I didn't really have a set of beliefs in life, I was given a few choices. I could either spend time in total damnation for a few decades to pay off my few sins before paradise, be put to peace, which would literally make me cease to exist, or I could become a reaper. I really didn't want to be tortured, and I still want to exist. I had chosen to become a reaper. What could be so bad? The decision would change me forever. I'm still wondering if I made the right choice. Every day, I have to go to people that have died and take them to purgatory. I have to mentally relive every memory they have, experience their emotions and death, and then explain to them their choices based on my moral judgment of them and their beliefs. Every person brings me closer and closer to losing myself. I've seen the world and lives through hundreds of people now. It's taking an emotional and mental burden on me. I'm not sure how long I can keep doing this. I don't understand how the others can do this either. I'm still yet to grow this emotionally numb void needed to continue doing this without the mental hassle. This is what my eternity looks like, I suppose. I don't want to spend time in hell. I guess I'll suck it up and keep going. Would you do this? Our last short story is Don't Do Listen. Day 1. It will start off by watching you from the shadows. It will observe habits of your daily life. Seeing or noticing it during this first day will be rare. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings at all times. If you hear anything out of the normal, follow the noise and it will vanish. Day 2. The entity will be more persistent in mentally breaking you. You will have a higher chance of seeing it lurking around the corner now. It will never harm you, even if you attempt to attack. The form of this thing is unknown since it takes on a shape and form that differs from person to person. It's unknown what these variants would be, since everyone that has come into contact with this thing has died. Do not look at it directly, since you risk insanity. Avoid any contact with it as much as possible. It wants to make you mad, drive you out of your normal state, and drive you crazy. Day 3. It will be right behind you at all times, right on the edge of your field of vision. You will feel a presence near you and the feeling that you're being watched. You are. It will feed you lies. Do not listen to it. It feeds off your negativity and fear. It wants you to harm others and harm yourself. Nothing much can be done to repel it aside from pushing through this final day. No matter what, do not succumb to its.
Do it. Listen to it. We don't mean any harm. You should listen to us and give in. Lies are not what we tell. The truth is what we say. Listen to us. Do what we tell you. You are spreading love. It may be messy, and blood may be on your hands, but it's in others' best interest. Let them join the big man in the sky. Bring peace to as many as you can.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and comment on our many platforms of whatever you're listening to us on. Please comment any stories you would like to hear next. And if you want your story read on the podcast, please send it to kayleysnightmares@gmail.com. If you like today's story, please follow and support our author today on Reddit at r/storylaboratory. Music on this episode was Magic Escape Room by Kevin MacLeod. Links will be listed in the comments. Thank you, and have a good night.